Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. Of low birth or station, base, is archaic in this sense. Base-born wretches with dirty faces. Use purified cocaine, by burning it and inhaling the fumes. Lowest support of a structure. It was built on a base of solid rock. A support or foundation. The base of the lamp. The most important or necessary part of something. A place that the runner must touch before scoring. Illegitimate. Numeration system, the positive integer that is equivalent to 1 in the next higher counting place. A phosphoric ester of a nucleoside, the basic structural unit of nucleic acids, DNA or RNA. A lower limit. Serving as or forming a base. The painter applied a base coat followed by 2 finishing coats. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. The place where you are stationed and from which missions start and end. The stock of basic facilities and capital equipment needed for the functioning of a country or area. The industrial base of Japan. Having or showing an ignoble lack of honor or morality. That liberal obedience without which your army would be a base rabble. Any of various water-soluble compounds capable of turning litmus blue and reacting with an acid to form a salt and water. Bases include oxides and hydroxides of metals and ammonia. Not adhering to ethical or moral principles. Base and unpatriotic motives. Installation from which a military force initiates operations. The attack wiped out our forward bases. Use as a basis for, found on. Base a claim on some observation. A flat bottom on which something is intended to sit. A tub should sit on its own base. Anatomy, the part of an organ nearest its point of attachment. The base of the skull. Debased, not genuine. An attempt to eliminate the base coinage. Electronics, the part of a transistor that separates the emitter from the collector. Situate as a center of operations. We will base this project in the new lab. The bottom or lowest part. The base of the mountain. The bottom side of a geometric figure from which the altitude can be constructed. The base of the triangle. The principal ingredient of a mixture. Glycerinated gelatin is used as a base for many ointments. Used of metals, consisting of or alloyed with inferior metal. Base coins of aluminum. A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. A terrorist network intensely opposed to the United States that dispenses money and logistical support and training to a wide variety of radical Islamic terrorist groups, has cells in more than 50 countries. Of low birth or station, base, is archaic in this sense. Base-born wretches with dirty faces. Illegitimate. Of low birth or station, base, is archaic in this sense. Of humble, or lowly, birth. Low or inferior in station or quality. A humble cottage. Used of unskilled work, especially domestic work. Cause to feel shame. Hurt the pride of. Cause to be unpretentious. This experience will humble him. Marked by meekness or modesty, not arrogant or prideful. A humble apology. Of low birth or station, base, is archaic in this sense. Of humble, or lowly, birth. Low or inferior in station or quality. A lowly parish priest. Used of unskilled work, especially domestic work. Inferior in rank or status. A lowly corporal. Use purified cocaine, by burning it and inhaling the fumes. Lowest support of a structure. He stood at the foot of the tower. Pay for something. Foot the bill. Prosody. A group of 2 or 3 syllables forming the basic unit of poetic rhythm. Add a column of numbers. The part of the leg of a human being below the ankle joint. Armored from head to foot. A linear unit of length equal to 12 inches or a third of a yard. Any of various organs of locomotion or attachment in invertebrates. Walk. The pedal extremity of vertebrates other than human beings. An army unit consisting of soldiers who fight on foot. There came 10,000 horsemen and as many fully armed foot. A member of a surveillance team who works on foot or rides as a passenger. A support resembling a pedal extremity. 1 foot of the chair was on the carpet. The lower part of anything. Curled up on the foot of the bed. Travel by walking. He followed on foot. Education or instruction in the fundamentals of a field of knowledge. He lacks the foundation necessary for advanced study. Lowest support of a structure. A woman's undergarment worn to give shape to the contours of the body. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. The act of starting something for the first time, introducing something new. The foundation of a new scientific society. An institution supported by an endowment. The basis on which something is grounded. There is little foundation for his objections. Lowest support of a structure. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. Lowest support of a structure. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. Preliminary preparation as a basis or foundation. We are prepared today because of groundwork that was done 10 years ago. Lowest support of a structure. The basic structure or features of a system or organization. Lowest support of a structure. A support or foundation. An architectural support or base, as for a column or statue. A position of great esteem, and supposed superiority. They put him on a pedestal. Put up with something or somebody unpleasant. A support or foundation. An interruption of normal activity. A booth where articles are displayed for sale. A platform where a brass band can play in the open air. Hold one's ground. Maintain a position. Be steadfast or upright. I am standing my ground and won't give in. A support for displaying various articles. A mental position from which things are viewed. Withstand the force of something. Stand the test of time. Put into an upright position. Can you stand the bookshelf up? Be standing. Be upright. We had to stand for the entire performance. A defensive effort. The army made a final stand at the Rhone. A growth of similar plants, usually trees, in a particular area. They cut down a stand of trees. A small table for holding articles of various kinds. A bedside stand. A stop made by a touring musical or theatrical group to give a performance. A one-night stand. Be available for stud services. Be in effect. Be or remain in force. The law stands. Be in some specified state or condition. I stand corrected. Be tall. Have a height of, copula. She stands 6 feet tall. Have or maintain a position or stand on an issue. Where do you stand on the war? Occupy a place or location, also metaphorically. We stand on common ground. Remain inactive or immobile. Standing water. The position where a thing or person stands. Tiered seats consisting of a structure, often made of wood, where people can sit to watch an event, game or parade. The most important or necessary part of something. The basis of this drink is orange juice. A relation that provides the foundation for something. He worked on an interim basis. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. The whole argument rested on a basis of conjecture. An activity that you like or at which you are superior. His bag now is learning to play golf. A portable rectangular container for carrying clothes. He carried his small bag onto the plane with him. Take unlawfully. A place that the runner must touch before scoring. He scrambled to get back to the bag. A container used for carrying money and small personal items or accessories, especially by women. She reached into her bag and found a comb. Bulge out. Form a bulge outward, or be so full as to appear to bulge. The quantity that a bag will hold. He ate a large bag of popcorn. Mammary gland of bovids, cows and sheep and goats. An ugly or ill-tempered woman. He was romancing the old bag for her money. A flexible container with a single opening. He stuffed his laundry into a large bag. Capture or kill, as in hunting. Bag a few pheasants. Hang loosely, like an empty bag. Put into a bag. The supermarket clerk bagged the groceries. The quantity of game taken in a particular period, usually by one person. His bag included 2 deer. Numeration system, the positive integer that is equivalent to 1 in the next higher counting place. 10 is the radix of the decimal system. A phosphoric ester of a nucleoside, the basic structural unit of nucleic acids, DNA or RNA. The inside lower horizontal surface, as of a room, hallway, tent, or other structure. They needed rugs to cover the bare floors. Surprise greatly. Knock someone's socks off. I was floored when I heard that I was promoted. A lower limit. The government established a wage floor. Knock down with force. A large room in an exchange where the trading is done. He is a floor trader. A structure consisting of a room or set of rooms at a single position along a vertical scale. The bottom surface of any lake or other body of water. The ground on which people and animals move about. The fire spared the forest floor. The legislative hall where members debate and vote and conduct other business. There was a motion from the floor. The lower inside surface of any hollow structure. The floor of the pelvis. The occupants of a floor. The whole floor complained about the lack of heat. The parliamentary right to address an assembly. The chairman granted him the floor. Especially of leaves. Located at the base of a plant or stem, especially arising directly from the root or rootstock or a root-like stem. Basal placentation. Serving as or forming a base. Of or being the essential or basic part. A basal reader. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. A stone at the outer corner of 2 intersecting masonry walls. A stone in the exterior of a large and important building, usually carved with a date and laid with appropriate ceremonies. Used of opinions and actions, far beyond the norm. Radical opinions on education. Especially of leaves. Located at the base of a plant or stem, especially arising directly from the root or rootstock or a root-like stem. Radical leaves. An atom or group of atoms with at least one unpaired electron. In the body it is usually an oxygen molecule that has lost an electron and will stabilize itself by stealing an electron from a nearby molecule. In the body, free radicals or high-energy particles that ricochet wildly and damage cells. Linguistics, the form of a word after all affixes are removed. Markedly new or introducing radical change. Radical political views. Chemistry, 2 or more atoms bound together as a single unit and forming part of a molecule. A character conveying the lexical meaning of a logogram. A person who has radical ideas or opinions. Arising from or going to the root or source. A radical flaw in the plan. Mathematics. A quantity expressed as the root of another quantity. Of or relating to or constituting a linguistic root. A radical verb form. A simple form inferred as the common basis from which related words in several languages can be derived by linguistic processes. Someone from whom you are descended, but usually more remote than a grandparent. Become settled or established and stable in one's residence or lifestyle. Linguistics. The form of a word after all affixes are removed. The set of values that give a true statement when substituted into an equation. The place where something begins, where it springs into being. Communism's Russian root. Dig with the snout. The pig was rooting for truffles. A number that, when multiplied by itself some number of times, equals a given number. Botany. The usually underground organ that lacks buds or leaves or nodes. Absorbs water and mineral salts. Usually it anchors the plant to the ground. Cause to take roots. Cheer for. She roots for the Broncos. Come into existence, originate. The problem roots in her depression. Plant by the roots. Take root and begin to grow. This plant roots quickly. The embedded part of a bodily structure such as a tooth, nail, or hair. Linguistics. The form of a word after all affixes are removed. Cylinder forming a long narrow part of something. A slender or elongated structure that supports a plant or fungus or a plant part or plant organ. Stop the flow of a liquid. Stem the tide. Linguistics. The form of a word after all affixes are removed. Thematic vowels are part of the stem. A turn made in skiing. The back of one ski is forced outward and the other ski is brought parallel to it. Front part of a vessel or aircraft. Cause to point inward. Stem your skis. Grow out of, have roots in, originate in. The increase in the national debt stems from the last war. Remove the stem from. For automatic natural language processing, the words must be stemmed. The tube of a tobacco pipe. Music, melodic subject of a musical composition. The theme is announced in the first measures. An essay, especially one written as an assignment. Linguistics. The form of a word after all affixes are removed. The subject matter of a conversation or discussion. His letters were always on the theme of love. A unifying idea that is a recurrent element in literary or artistic work. It was the usual, boy gets girl, theme. Provide with a particular theme or motive. The restaurant often themes its menus.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.